First two short presentations about concrete examples on this topic, and I also would like to remind you on the first description for the workshop. Perhaps you remember that the planners of the conferences put in some questions. So when I follow those questions, I read it again. How can EU co-funded projects assist in coordinating and standardizing efforts for the promotion of physical activity in the EU? The second one was how to set up national alliances with relevant governmental and non-governmental organizations through bilateral talks. And the third question was how to develop and implement actions to strengthen capacities through a cooperative planning process with the national and local alliances. So those questions open our more internal view from yesterday, how we can develop capacity in our own organizations. This was the main question yesterday in my frame. And now, this will be one challenge for this workshop. How can we build capacity by cooperating, by networking with other organizations? So this is a little bit different view. Not a different view, but it's more of a view. Thank you very much again for joining us, and I would like to ask our first speaker, Antonio, please give us your presentation. It should be not too long, but I think you will need your time to explain it, please. And stop me when I will do it, and afterwards it will be open for us for questions, for discussions, and so on. And also would like to welcome you, Vladimir. It's right, your first name? Yes, Vladimir, and he's from the Ministry, from the Serbian Ministry for Health, and he will give us, as a second speaker, his view on this topic. Welcome. So, Tony, please.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, first of all, to ISCA for this invitation. We are, as the University of Tesino, we are not partner in this project, but while we are partner on the sample project, we agreed about our participation mostly as observers, because many of the projects you are carrying out, you have carried out, and you are carrying out in other projects are also related to the other project, the new sample project, in which we will have a specific role. So I set up my presentation trying to answer to some of the questions of this session. And so the title is Between Public and Private Policies, How to Fill the Gap. And I will try to follow this stream to answer some of the questions posed by the organizers. First of all, we can say that probably we can highlight sustainability as a mainstream, as a subject, as a topic of many projects, not only related to sport, but many projects during the 90s. And probably we can integrate health and physical activity, health, as possible, one of the mainstream of EU projects during these years, the beginning of the new century. So I would like to propose you to follow two processes. I propose you to have a double glance. From one side, every European government, not only European, but every European government is prioritizing the preventive effects of physical activity. That I think could be an objective glance on what is going on. But from the other side, another objective glance is that in every part of the world, like we are talking now about EU, the curriculum time allocation of physical education is constantly decreasing. I'm mentioning Professor Ken Harman, the University of Massachusetts. It's Ken. He is in charge for the UNESCO of the monitoring of physical education worldwide. And here you can see the numbers of minutes. Obviously, they are average, and there are big differences at local level. But as you can see, on the primary school in 2001, in EU member states, there were 121 minutes per week of physical education delivered, while in 2008, 109 minutes per week on average. So, more or less the same figures we can see for the secondary school. Well, this is, I'm immediately coming to the key point of my presentation. After reminding which factors can Harman individuate as responsible for this crisis of reliability of physical education? You know that South Africa in June will host the football championship, but last year or 2 years ago they cancelled the physical education as compulsory at school. So we continue. So according to Harman, the factors of the crisis are the excess of competition-oriented activities, the contents of physical education which are not meaningful for children. Here we could open a great scenario about modern and postmodern sport and so on. That's just a remark to eventually to continue our discussion later. Then the risk that physical education can be reduced to countering the basic problems. And then the Harman remarks is that it's scientifically unproven that physical education can contribute to achieve all the aims written in many documents at European level and also at national and local level. So, sociability, health, strength, and so on. Harman individuates the sustainability of physical education as a lifestyle enhancing enterprise. But if from one side there is an increasing demand for physical education, mostly health-oriented physical education, and from the other side there is a decreasing time institutionally delivered for physical education, who and how can close the gap? Which sector will be in pole position? Will it be the private or the third sector? Well, I would invite you to obviously I will try to guide you to find an answer, but maybe I would try to give some suggestions about the fact that how an association at national level could cope with this kind of challenge. The first, obviously there are suggestions amongst many other suggestions. The first, as we saw on the previous session, proposing projects at school level, taking account of the Hartman's recommendation. So meaningful experiences. The awareness and the pleasure in doing activity. For example, that is not enough. And never forgetting educational aims. So, obviously, health-related physical activity is a mainstream, but at the same time, I think the association couldn't forget the educational aims, every educational aim of the project. Then, finding alliances and building projects starting from evidence-based data and literature review. For example, working on health measurement, not only from a physiological point of view, but also from a psychological point of view. For example, working on the self-perceived health. And I think this is one of the most important thing that could match with the projects we, for example, from the project from France and from the project from Italy, and also from Stockholm and other projects, pointing out attention to the motivation, to the willingness to participate. I have in mind what Lebouche called the availability, disponibility, which is not a behavior, but is an attitude. I am ready to. That's the part in which we can, obviously not alone, schools, our educational and health and that system, we can do a lot. And continue broadening and deepening the path already inaugurated by ISCA with a very well done diagram I have. It's a very good product, very good tools. So we can start from there and going more in depth about those issues I presented before. Or for example, there are just examples using